Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the progress report for August 2025. And I've got a lot going on here. Since we last met, I inked up 2 different pens, so 2 more pens. And I also did an ink change in the Esterbrook Epic. And but everything's turning out really well. And other than that one pen having an incomplete, we got an all A. They're either A minus, or A plus. So things in the writing department couldn't be better. So I'm excited. This is my favorite video to do each month. It's really fun to go over what I have in my ink journal, and it keeps me on track, but it also, I think, may interest or inspire or get somebody to, go and get out their sample of something they forgot they had, because I've had a lot of feedback over the years too. So, okay, so this journal is actually a Hobinichi A5. And this was a gift from pen friend RL back in 2023. And then the cover is a Midori paper cover, which is a gift from pen friend MS. So I'm really wanting to decorate this. I'm thinking that if I don't decorate it, my desk is going to decorate it, because, I'm going to have ink splatters, which is fine, but I'd rather intentionally set the tone for the ink splatters. So I think I'm going to get brave and do that before the next time I come on. But for right now, I may do some splatting and then put a main sticker in the middle, because I think that would be exciting. Also, it would make me remember forever what's in here, because that's how our brains work, I think. So let's get started with the report card, because I can't be trusted to come back to it at the end. I'm always excited to go face-to-face and blabber about everything I can think about. So we'll start with the Pelikan M800. It has a fine nib. This was a pen friend gift too. Actually, I could just be a broken record, because so much of what I have, over 50% of my pens and notebooks, and I'm not sure I can say that about ink, but ink samples, I can definitely say that over 50% of my ink samples are viewer, pen friend, given to me, I was going to say to the channel, but you don't give anything to a YouTube channel, you give it to the person. So thank you very much, and maybe I'll just keep that for tags in the, other than the gift that I got last week. I'm going to mention their initials because I got permission, but okay, I'm so wired, so happy about everything, and you'll see when we go face to face, there's an actual reason, I think, why my depression is lifted, that I just had a real aha moment about that. And I truly believe in my idea. So I've got Tom's Studio Loch Ness in the Pelikan M800 with the fine nib, and it's going beautifully. It kind of comes across as a dark blue, and then when I do a smear, or I do, you'll see, because we'll look at the ink entry. It's actually in another notebook. I'm keeping all the Tom Studios in a Graphilo. There's some green in it, so it's very interesting ink. But I gave it an A+. I haven't met a pen, an ink that's gone below an A in this pen. So the pen is responsible too for how wonderful it is. But that is just so smooth, and I love that ink, the Loch Ness. It's gorgeous. It's not quite blue or green, and I don't even see it as a teal for some reason, but it could be. I haven't investigated that far. Okay, so next up is the Parker Vector. This is a very special pen for me, because it was a pen friend gift, and it's a US made pen that was new old stock and sent to me by a dear pen friend. And so, every pen friend feels dear to me, but I've been writing back and forth with this person, and we have a lot in common. So that's all I'm going to say, because that was supposed to be an anonymous. Be real careful with that one. This is Diatramenis elderberry, a gorgeous, gorgeous maroon. To me, it's maroon color. That's how I see it anyway, with a lot of water resistance, and I give it an A. It's gorgeous, and I love this pen for sentimental reasons and for the fact that the nib is very smooth. But it does have a really thin section, so that affects me as far as it's a metal thin section. So I don't do just gobs of writing with it at a time. Probably no more than one A5 sheet I'd be real comfortable with, but I really love this pen, and it'll always be with me as long as I can swing that. Okay. So next up, so I said it got an A. Would have got an A plus if the section was maybe a little bigger, and that's not something I can control on that pen body. So then next up is in the Kaweco Brass Sport. Hi, Coco. He's come to visit. This has a double broad on it, and I put Birmingham Shower Scum because I'm obsessed with this ink. I have a sample of it from pen friend Kathy, and it gets an A+. It's just super. You wouldn't even think I'd like that color because it kind of, I don't know, it looks kind of gross, and yet I love it in the nib, and it flows really well, and so I'm enjoying it very much. Okay, so A+. You can't get much higher than that. I reserve A++ for just like falling on the floor combinations, and a lot of times the Pelikan M800 gets a A++, but I could feel that this is still smooth in here, but it's not like Diamine Oxford Blue still wins as far as the writing experience in the Pelikan, which gets, I think, a double A. A++. Okay, so next up is the Lamy Safari and Strawberry with Kobe Nankamache Fortune Red with a lot of gold sheen. This is gorgeous. I've really been enjoying this. I'm not sure how much I've used because, okay, it's all the way down to where the little plug-in is. So I have used quite a bit of that. I thought maybe I was going to run, have to look for the sample vial again and put some more in it because I really like it. It's just an amazing color, and it's super nice in that Lamy broad nib. Their broad nibs are great for me. I love them. So then next up is my Platinum 3776 Nice with a broad nib, and this nib is more like a medium. I always have to say that because I can't get past that. I guess I probably need a double broad or a coarse or whatever they have that's broader in Platinum, but I bought this myself. Oh goodness, oh Coco, oh there goes the dinosaur. He knocked the little dinosaur down. Come on, no, oh dear. Oh dear, that was a bit traumatic. He scared himself because he knocked these two Kaweco boxes down and made quite a clatter, and right after he knocked the little dinosaur down, and that scared me, even though that wasn't quite as loud. So everybody's okay, no pens were harmed, but oh my goodness, he's over there with Manuel now. So back to business here. Hopefully he won't be too upset about that. The boxes just fell right down because of his tail, lumbering around up here. I put Robert Oster Bronze in the Platinum 3776 Nice, and it's pretty, but I have to remember each time it's not really a broad nib. I gave it an A-, but because it's smooth and it writes well, but it's thin for a broad nib. Feels like a not a starved medium, but like a medium, and but I'm really happy because whenever I use Robert Oster inks in this pen, I haven't had any staining in it or anything, and I do love the pen. I'm just trying to bond with it, I guess. Maybe like if I were to go to a pen show and find someone who could make it right wetter, because I would never mess with a gold nib myself. I've never have tried and wouldn't do that because it might not be the thing to do anyway, but I'm not sure. But I enjoy writing with it, and I have used it for letters, so it's not like a total disappointment or anything. So next up is the Esterbrook Epic, which was an anonymous pen friend gift. Now this pen, I don't even know for sure what the nib is because there's no indicators. I call it a fine but it could be a medium. Just depends on how theirs run, but I suspect that it's a fine. That's what I think. So I started out with Diatremendous Purple Violet, but it didn't like that ink, and it was an older sample, so we could have reasons why the pen just did not get along with it. I had hard starts. It didn't make any sense because I didn't have that problem before with something else, and I failed to look that up, but I knew that if I had problems with Pilot Murasaki Shikabue, that it would be for sure that it was the pen. But so far I haven't, but I need to give it longer, so I did give that an incomplete, because you can't with 1.5 day, even though I have picked it up quite a bit and written with it, I need several days to see, is the pen going to dry out? Is this going to, have Is it going to turn out to be the pen? I don't think so. I think it was the ink, and I shouldn't have messed with that old sample maybe. But we'll see. I don't know, because I haven't found resources to really like find anything about these pens. So I don't have anybody else's opinion to say, yeah, you know, they're real reliable, or they dry up or whatever. No, I don't know anything about it. Okay, so then next up was the Hongdian Black Forest with a Fude nib. One of my favorite pens, because these Fude nibs are fun. They're super fun. I'd like to have a Fude nib option for every of my favorite pens, like even for the Lamis, but I don't have to, because I've got these. And I put in Birmingham Violet Sea Snail, and it has been very nice. It's so flowy that I have to kind of write with it up a little higher. If I write with it like at more of an angle, I get even thicker writing. So, but that's okay. It's just an adjustment like you would with a paintbrush, I guess, or any kind of a brush pen. So it's definitely suitably... I was going to say runny, but that is not a complimentary word for an ink. It's suitably wet of an ink. You know, it's nice for it. I like it. And I put an A+, so it's definitely excellent. Working out very well for me. Then next up, this is kind of funny, because in the TWSBI Eco Standard Black with a broad nib, I put the Montegrappa Fuchsia, which this is it. I used like the special little gasket or gizmo thing on top of a, this thing, which I can't remember what it's called. That's ridiculous. I'm going to have to go watch an old video of mine to remember what these are called. I was in Tractor Supply, and I could take you right to the place, the little drawers, and find it, but I guess I should have, because then I would have seen the little baggie as to what they're called. But I can't remember the size even. Probably 1/2 inch, but I'm not sure. So, you know, you just stick the nib in there, and you have your ink in it, and oh, it draws the ink in so beautifully. I like it better than the tube method now that I've kind of got the hang of it. So this is it for this ink, and it looks so much like King Philip Requiem, which stains everything, which I wouldn't even want it in King Philip in this one, because I wouldn't want to stain, well, and it could, the Montegrappa could stain it. We'll yet to find out. But I was laughing because I probably could have put this in one of my snazzy Benu pens, and the color would have been more appropriate for a pen that has all that, the glitter and so forth. But so I was laughing about it. I don't know why it's not funny, but because this is not an ugly pen, and the reason I put it in here probably was the amount. I could get all of that sample, the rest of it in here. So, and I will carry this over to the Levenger journaling pen case that I'm using. I gave it an A+. It's just phenomenal. I love it. And so I've already gotten out my cactus fruit eel to kind of see, am I just as happy with that? I have several in this family. In fact, I've got a whole bunch behind me. But, oh, it's such a mess. I thought I would have some ink panels to share with you, but I had all this other excitement too, so I'm not quite ready. If I do put together my panel later, I'll take a picture and put it on the community post, though, because there are a lot of alternatives for this one that are so close. And it's, it doesn't have any water resistance, so we're not looking at as bad of a staining, even if it does stain. Okay, so next up, I did decide, I don't know what, I guess it was the ink. When I saw this tile of J.R. Bond, I like to just mangle ink names. Let's see, is that in focus? There it is for you to see, because I'm not even going to try it. I cannot pronounce some of these words, but it's pretty. I thought it was going to be brighter, but it's lovely. You can see I used it for August for up here, and it is light, but I thought of this Benu Pixie right away. This is the Icy Violet, I think. And it has really been nice, even though it's not so dark or bright, which are two of my favorite things, saturation and brightness, neon colors. I like it. And I know that some of my pen friends really like this kind of, dusty kind of ink color. So I'm writing, have written with it in pen pal letters. Okay, so then the big excitement, which if you've been over on my Substack, you will see I wrote about this. I got a Twisby Draco as a super Pen Friend surprise gift from Pen Friend LV. Thank you so much. I was so blown away. And it was so unusual too that I would open the pen first, because I'm an ink person and I could feel Robert Oster ink bottles in one of the little packages, but I had to know what on earth pen could it possibly be, because I felt like I had every pen, that could be gotten, that was anywhere within my, whatever. But when I opened this, I screamed and I scared the cats, and Mendel was like, what? But, so this has a medium nib, but this medium nib was tuned by Annabelle, who used to be the nibmeister for Applebaum, if I'm getting this correct, and now has her own, business. So I mean, that's out of my forte and out of my wheelhouse, but oh my goodness, I could tell you the pen writes so smoothly. And I put Sailor Grenade in it, Grenade, because I know this ink, I know I love it. And am I getting ink all over the place? Maybe I did when I first wrote. I didn't let it dry enough, or I didn't. So so this is also in one of my pages, so we'll do that now. We'll start flipping through, but oh my goodness, this pen can't really be, I can't photograph it and get it to look as pretty as it actually is, which says a lot more about me and my lighting and my camera, whatever, but it's just gorgeous. And it always looks so pretty when I would see Jason's Wasky Squirrels Draco. I'd be like, oh man, I let that one get away. Like, there had to have been a way to get it. And because it kept nagging me in my mind, I kind of knew later that it was a mistake, that I had justified and said, well, it's not a demonstrator, and well, and each little thing, which, it's nice to have restraint, but next time I have that particular feeling, I'll know that I need to, do something different to obtain a pen that I want that badly. So, oh, and I was going to show you too, so a couple years ago, my brother and his girlfriend gave me this beautiful pen stand, and I don't even know how they knew about these, because I had to go looking, and this was been long enough now that I don't even remember the maker, but it just goes with the pen so beautifully. I was pretty much blown away at how, I was sitting here at my computer and I looked up, and I had this up way high where the cats don't go, because it's way up on like a built-in shelf kind of thing. And I thought, wow, that just looks exactly like it was made for this pen. So this is where it sits when I'm right here to supervise. But to be honest, I have to have it in the pen tray when I'm not, because the cats, you saw what Coco did just a little minute ago. Okay, so that's the report card. Fantastic. A lot of fun writing with these, because they're just really good combinations. And I'm thinking that the Esterbrook Epic is going to, I don't have an Esty, but I've seen plenty of them. I think this is going to cure it. It's going to be that it was the ink, I'm pretty sure. And I will keep writing with it every day so I don't let it sit, because that could also cause problems if I have too many pens inked up. Okay, so let's go page by page. Now, I wasn't sure how this notebook would do, because I think this is 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. And because it was gifted to me in 2023, I think it was probably, I just don't know, but I think it might have predated the change in the paper, because this paper turns out to be very nice. But here, I didn't dare to put the first page on the back of the report card in case it would ruin it, But turned out ye of little faith, because for the most part, other than just out and out splatting, I haven't had any seep back through, which is kind of phenomenal. But here's oh, okay, so I'll have to bring over, I've got it right here open, the Pelican. But, so we're starting with the Parker Vector with the medium nib and Diatremendous Elderberry. And I just love this. There's enough movement of the ink, even though you can see right here, I made a mistake when I was making the L. And it stayed because it's semi-permanent. I mean, it's partially very water resistant, as you could see from that tile. Let's see. Probably the last one that I try to, yeah, it's way down on the bottom. You know, the tile tells us that because we can see the paintbrush marks quite distinctly. But it's lovely, and it's really flows along real good. So we'll backtrack now because I like to stay in order, but I don't often do it. Here's the Pelikan M800 with the Tom Studio Loch Ness. Now, I had already tried it with my Serendipity. So, but I went ahead because this is a whole different pen. And I tried it in here in the Graphilo paper, and I loved it. Oh, it's just a really, well, this paper's, it's the best paper I've encountered. It isn't practical for me to only use this paper, but if it were, I suppose I would. But I had a gift of 3 of these little booklets, which we're using now for ink studies because I just enjoy it so much. And of course, it's hardy. It doesn't go through at all. It doesn't even go like the big splats. Only ghost. They don't seep back through or anything. So fantastic. Okay, so there's that one. Now next up, we've got a spread here with. Hopefully it's not too crooked. I don't know. So this is the Birmingham Shower Scum, and I really like it. I mean, I didn't have this big like party about how it looked in the with the water brush. I just use just a basic rather thin tipped water brush. I don't like them when they're too thick. They make a mess then. But I do love it in the nib, which is the primary thing I'm using for is writing letters. So it's fantastic. And I said the pen was just a little bit heavy, but I'm getting used to it. And sometimes I just write with it unposted because I can do that. Okay, so then next up, the Lamy Safari Strawberry with Kobe Fortune Red. I love how that worked with, lifting with the water brush. Just fantastic. I had to go look up the ink even though, I have to use up my bottled red inks. I've got KWZ Thief's Red. And, well, you know, there are other reds that don't really seem to be bright red. I don't have a lot of just bottled red. But like I've got Crimson. I've got Twisby Crimson, which is gorgeous. And if I thought hard enough, I'd probably think of a few more. Wild Strawberry. I got Wild Strawberry. Okay. Anyway, I still looked it up. A sample is $5.15 and a 50 ml bottle is $30. So it's pricey, but it's gorgeous. And this was a sample from pen friend Kathy. So thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, so next up was the Robert Oster Bronze in the Platinum 3776 Nice. And I thought it would lift better with the water brush because when you look at how it does on watercolor paper, I mean, artists take notice because I think it's just a whole different world for this ink on watercolor paper. I believe this is a really nice one. I keep misspelling bronze. Bros, I wrote. Okay. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But for ink art, that'd be great. But not so much, just trying to lift from a thin line. It didn't do too good. Okay, so here's Hongdian with the Fude nib with Birmingham Violet Sea Snail. And I think this lettering, the writing speaks for itself. Again, it didn't do much with the water brush, but it's gorgeous in the writing. I love it. And I said this is an ink guzzler. Yeah, this is, if you want to use up ink, use a Fude nib because you'll go through, like, you'll keep having to refill, but that's okay. I don't mind that. Okay, then next up is that gorgeous Montegrappa Fuchsia that I can't, get enough of, and I'm going to be doing a special study on. Maybe I'll be able to reach behind me when I get ready to do these tiles. I'll try. If they're still there and not all refiled, I'll do a panel for you because this is really pretty. And see how it lifted with the water brush? So gorgeous. I wrote color therapy. Yeah, this is the kind of color that really lifts my mood and I like it. I just could write with it all day. So, okay. Then next up is one that I guess when I saw this, I thought it was going to be something a little bit different. But I'm not going to say that I'm crying over it because I think it's really pretty. It's just subtle. And for apparently my ink tastes are anything but subtle. So here we go. But it's a tiny, tiny little bottle. So, and I spilled some. I actually had a horrible accident with this because I tried to fill a TWSBI Go. And the TWSBI Go needed to be maintained, and I knew this, but I thought, one more time, just one more fill, then I'll tear it apart. I'll watch my video and I'll grease it. Well, don't ever do that if you know that a TWSBI Go needs to be, because it's stuck, and then I pressed down on it, and the whole thing, when I let go, I thought I had a hold of it pretty good, but the whole entire pen exploded out of the ink. It's a wonder I have ink left. All over me, all over my favorite new shirt. It's a sleeveless like shirt, and I did save the shirt, but I don't know how. I really don't. I had it all over the place, and it's just lucky it didn't like hurt something really that I couldn't fix. But anyway, just a cautionary tale, I guess. And it's over by the sink, all apart, and I've got to put it. I got to clean. Well, I cleaned it, but I've got to put it back together and grease it and. I'm not sure I'm going to trust it again. Oh, darn. Maybe I'll just pull the nib right off it. It has a nice broad nib and put it on something else, like one of my Ecos. I don't know. They're great until the spring filling mechanism starts to stick, and then don't mess with it because it'll mess with you. I'm telling you. Okay. But this is nice. It's nothing like this. Like this is where I'm at for color. Okay, so then here's the TWSBI Draco with the Sailor Gentle Grenade. I almost put in this Pelikan Edelstein Star Ruby, but something made me try Sailor Grenade first because I know the ink so much better. But I think that other ink would be a really good choice for this pen too. It's nice and weighty. It's gorgeous. It picks up all kinds of pinks and... well, you could use whatever you wanted in it, but pinks, reds, maroons, whatever you want. So it's really nice. Okay, last but not least is the Esterbrook Epic with the ink change. So this is appears a little bit lighter on Tomoe River paper and, you know, in the fine nib. But I'm really happy with it. So if it keeps doing what it's doing there, I'm super happy with it. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you was I was trying to get a handle as to how this paper, this Hobinichi paper, and I think it's 52 GSM just based on feel, because I don't think it said. If it did, I got rid of the paper that said so. I wanted to compare it with the Bond Travel Gear, which is now Lockbee, but that's the 68 GSM. So I thought, well, I'll just do a quick splat on this one and then see what it does on the page before. Well, I just had seepage, not actual bleed through, but you can definitely see it, and it could disturb things. But this is the Murasaki Shikabu. So I went over onto one of the back pages of my previous journal, the Bond Travel Gear 68 GSM, and did the same thing. Let's see here in a minute. We'll compare them side by side, but first. Oh gosh, I got stuff spilling out. I just wanted to show you first what happened on the back of the splat. The same thing happened. So let's compare them right side by side. Except there's no writing here. Oh dear. Oh, that's really going to help the notebook. It's already broken. So it did seep through. Not quite as much, but almost as much as it did on the 52. So I think... from seeing this, and of course by feel, this paper feels a little bit thicker than this. Yeah, and it's 68. So I know this paper better, but this is what I'm going to be working with until it's completely, you know, filled up. Along with the, along with using the Graphilo ones on the side to give us kind of a, yeah, I thought that maybe this would also be worth something, side-by-side comparison, because when I look at this, I kind of like how the purple looks over here, a little bit better. And this would be the slightly lighter, the 52 GSM. Both of them do show like a gold sheen, but it's not as distinct on the 68 GSM. And that's something that I was already aware of. Like, I like not having bleed through. It's one of my high value attributes of paper. That's why I like CVS Caliber, Graphilo, and 68 GSM Tomoe River paper so much. But I love the way inks look on the 52 GSM, and I'd almost be willing to just keep skipping pages, but if I don't have to, I won't. I think I'm going to have to use my judgment. Like, if this had been like Lamy Dark Lilac, it would have destroyed the back of this, I'm sure, or some Noodler's Purple. It would have just, you know. So I think as for just regular with using a little bit of water brush, it did just fine. I didn't have the bleed through I expected, or seep through, or there's the other thing where it'll just be a little too wet and disturb the ink on the other side. Well, I had really good luck so far, so I'm really excited. That's why I'm ready to like come back and, you know, do some kind of decoration to make this look good. You know, I didn't get too creative with my other ones. It's just a couple of stickers or a little cardboard from a t-shirt and a sticker, but I'd like to get a little more creative on this one maybe. We'll see. Okay, so it's time to do a little quick ink panel, I think. Okay, that was funny. I mean, you didn't have a long time as I did, but I ended up finding out that all of those fuchsia or whatever you want to call them, inks that kind of go with the Montegrappa were right up on behind me there, or in front of me. So anyway, I looked and I thought, well, they have to be somewhere. And then I turned around and having given up, and they were right in front of me. But I wanted to do the panel first of what I'm using for this month. This has shown me that using some old favorites like elderberry and Shikaboo, Murasaki Shikaboo there, and Sailor Grenade, is fun, but also trying some of these newer ones and not just always sticking to what I already know I love. It's shown me something because I really like the Birmingham Shower Scum. I can hardly ever end up with my pen allowance matching getting a bottle of their ink if I end up liking it, because there are a lot of changes and time goes by and I don't need ink, so I don't pursue it. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe you do if you have a YouTube channel and more ink than you can, yeah. So anyway, what I've been doing on that one, I've been looking, but I haven't really looked very far. I thought maybe Gold Antiqua would be similar, and I do have a bottle of that, so I'll probably have to get it in a nib, but I don't think it's going to look quite the same. And I'm pretty sure I have some other ones, but let's see, I just had one in my hand a minute ago. Yeah, I've got tiles absolutely everywhere. I better not upset that. I'm going to be just like Coco, dropping everything on the floor. But this is a really fun ink panel this time, and I love that Montegrappa Fuchsia so much. That's why we're going to look at some comparisons, because that helps ground me in what I already have or what might come close. That's how I started doing these things to begin with, because when I first came into the hobby, I was really naive about how many inks there were, and I actually thought I would get all of the, you know, purple or all of the whatever and see which one I liked better, because I was coming from being a teenager where there were only like, you know, black, blue, red, you know, there was just cartridges in my world, and so I had no concept of. And then, of course, over the last 5 years, the ink world has exploded anyway, and there's just several new inks every day. So it would be pretty presumptuous to think I was ever going to explore every ink. But here we go, and I've really liked it. I mean, I've got, you know, 2 purples, and I've got the nice fuchsia color, or whatever you want to call it, and the maroon, and another one that you could see they're different. Grenade is different than elderberry. And the unique bronze, I like that too. I do think I'll like it better in just an ordinary really broad or double broad. So they would look nice in that pen, in the Kaweco Brass Sport. So, okay, let's go ahead and we'll put up the other panel with all fuchsia inks. And we'll put this one right in the middle. It's like playing cards or something. Okay, here we go. Montegrappa Fuchsia is in the middle. And right away I noticed that although it's not exactly the same, the Noodler's Cactus Fruit Eel is one that I have a bottle of. And I really love that. And it's similar, but I am eager to see how... there's just something about the Fuchsia Montegrappa which I could not find, which is a good thing, right? I mean, if you know it's out there and being sold, don't tell me, because I don't need to buy ink. I don't need to do that. But I was going to grab it and see just real quick how there's just something about it where the brightness comes through in the writing, and I don't know if I can even describe it. I mean, yes, we have just a little bit of shading, and in the shading it goes lighter, brighter, like really, really, I don't know. I can't even describe it. So I have a feeling that Noodler's Cactus Fruit Eel won't be an absolute match, but you can see we're in the ballpark here. And Noodler's King Philip Requiem, I'm still fine with writing with that as long as I put it in a non-demonstrator, which makes it less fun for me. I would rather see it in a TWSBI and have it all month, you know, for a month or two. I suppose, though, I could get out my Wingsong 3008, I think it is. I wouldn't mind if I stained a cup of one of those older ones. It's probably already stained, come to think of it. And I could put a Lamy broad nib, or no, that wouldn't work because it would just gush. Probably a fine or medium, because this is this is some aggressive ink here, and I had no idea really when all I had was the writing from my pen friend who did pass away, the beautiful writing. So when I bought that huge bottle, which many of you will remember, it was like a like a Coke bottle, like a 16-ounce bottle of ink, and shared it with people. I had no idea what I was doing, honestly. Okay, anyway, I digress. But I also have a bottle of Rohrer and Klinger Solferino, and this is an older card. I'm always very happy with this in a nib. So this is the beauty of doing these tiles, is that I know that I've got two bottles for sure. The Vinta Me Copa has too much sheen to be directly compare in a nib, I'm sure. But then I don't have a bottle of this one, excuse me, but Platinum Mixable Silky Purple is gorgeous. And I think that's still available in a bottle. I'm not sure, but it doesn't apply to me. I'm just helping you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So Noodler's Seguro wine. It's got a different, if you really compare them side by side, not quite exactly the same, but I don't have a bottle of it. I have a sample from a pen friend who's also an artist, and they're gorgeous, but we're getting away from, we're getting into a more red, I think, with this one, if I'm right, but I may not be. So anyway, if this helps you, I hope it does. Monteverde Gratitude Magenta is a nice, similar, you know, sometimes these will look closer in a nib than they do, you know, in what I mean by that is when you write with them side by side, you can sometimes say, "Ooh, that's close enough for me. I like it." So, and then that gives you selection. Like if you can get diamine at a better price where you are, or if you have access to well, any one of these different brands easier or at a better price for you, then you can say, okay, this is going to come close to what I want. Or I'm just going to say if you if you like the water, or not waterproof, but water resistant ones like King Philip. But King Philip doesn't come on the market all the time. It comes sometimes. And I don't recommend a 16-ounce bottle. So, okay, so there's a lot more I wanted to cover, but I am covering some things over on Substack. So let me turn the camera around and I'll explain that a little better. And also I'll explain what's going on with, or what I think is responsible for helping me lift out of the most recent slump I had. So I'll be right with you. Okay, there. So those are the pens and inks that I'm writing with this month, and I've still got a couple weeks left in August. And when the month wraps up, I'll move over the ones that are behaving, which is almost everybody, into the Levenger pen case that I use for journaling and note taking over in another room, and we'll have at least eight more letter writing pens that I'll decide on, and inks for September. So I always look forward to that, but yet I'm in no hurry because everything is going really well this month with these inks and pens. So I just want to mention, just for those of you who might not have seen the community post, it's a little tab called, it doesn't say community anymore, it says posts or something, that I did to just alert you that I finally did start writing over at Substack about fountain pens. And for right now, I'm experimenting with, like, when something new comes in, whether I purchase it with channel funds, ad funds, or if someone sends something, I would like to do that over there with pictures and writing about the experience, because well, there's a lot going around in my brain about that, but I think that then if people know that, then there are just fewer, I don't know, I don't even know, but I guess I just try to speak as plainly as I can. I don't like to get a whole lot of, this is new and I got this and unboxings. I don't do well with that, probably because I have poor impulse control. I don't know. But so if I separate that, then I just feel better about it, I guess. It's still there for anybody who wants to read the article or look at the pictures or see. And yet, the main channel, I'd like to keep it. I will sometimes review things, and I will certainly be doing mini studies on inks that I get. Like, I get samples, and I've got some bottled inks now. I've got 5 Robert Oster, and I think it's, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the Waringal inks that came in from PenFriend LV, and it's just going to be so exciting. But those things will unfold slowly. Oh, I forgot to show you. I did get a little ways on that, though. I guess I can still show you. Yeah, I could show you that I did swatch the 5 Robert Oster inks that came in with that beautiful Twisby Draco. Came these 5 inks. So, we're talking inks, and I think it's okay to show these here. But, yeah, oh my goodness. I had seen this Sugar Rush somewhere, probably on Instagram. That's where a lot of temptations start for me. And it's just gorgeous. So I think these are all, or maybe most of them, are Dutch Pen Show exclusives. I know that, I think Dutch Peach, maybe, it said 2020. And then the Bruin, the brown one, and that says exclusive Dutch Pen Show 2021. And then the Tulip Fields, the green one, that one says 2023. And Waterworld says Dutch Pen Show 2025. Gosh, that's pretty. That looks like Diamine Aqua Lagoon right off, just at a glance. And then, of course, there's that color again that I love so much. And I don't even have a 3x3 tile done on these yet. But I thought I'd put them in here because I have enough pages left in this Sgraffilo to do a little mini study. So that's something I want to do soon. But anyway, I maybe not articulating it well enough. I just feel I want to separate the wildly off-topic stuff, most of it, and also anything that sort of feels like unboxing or look what I got, which it is not. I know that anything is acceptable because anybody can just say, oh no, I don't want to watch that because, if it's a new pen day, it might be too much of a temptation. I don't know why I can't articulate it, but I guess it's just to say it's free over there. I don't plan on monetizing. There's no need to. It's just a really nice platform. And I think if I could learn how to remember to tag properly, that it could even help my channel. It could even, have people discover and then come to the YouTube channel. Usually it's Instagram, between Instagram and YouTube. So anyway, that's TMI. But let's get into the one. This is an off-topic subject, but I always have to have at least one for these. And because it's so happy to me, I just want to share it, for anybody that'll listen this long, which most folks are probably already long gone. But and that is that recently, over the past, I'd say 3 weeks maybe, or maybe a little longer, this thing has happened because my mom has been getting a music person come and to her assisted living, to her room, and play a guitar and sing to her. Anything she wants that he can play, anything, you know, that they can come up with or have the music to. And so, you know, I got all excited and I started telling Mom about a song I really like by, well, Johnny Cash wrote it, but then he sang it too, but his daughter, Roseanne Cash, has the one that I like hers because I think when I hear her sing it, there's more of a chance that I can learn to sing it, and that's Tennessee Flat Top Box. Well, of course, she wanted me to sing it, and so I did. Now, I sent her the words, not the music. I haven't found the music yet. I think I found a book that it would be in on Thrift Books, so anyway, I'm working on that. But so little by little, I found myself more like looking up songs that I thought, well, if Mom asks, I got to have a couple. I want to have a couple that I can sing. And she reminded me that I used to sing for her the Rose, the Bette Midler song. And I was like panicking, like, oh my gosh, I don't know whether my voice could even do that anymore. And I do remember singing that to her when she asked me to, when I guess I was going on about it years and years ago. So I told her I'd send her the words, that way, in case I was croaking the song out, she'd at least know what the words were. But as the last couple of weeks kind of progressed, I realized this is really strange. I haven't felt down. I felt really good. Is something wrong? Am I going in the other direction? Like, am I like, not manic, but, you know, am I having the opposite problem? But then I started thinking about how much music I was listening to, it all for Mom, supposedly. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I need a song, you know. So, and then there's a funny story too. I just can't tell things coherently. I just have to say them as they come out, I guess. But so her music person is not going to be able to come for 2 weeks. I think we've got through 1 week. We did the Tennessee Flat Top Box, and she was all excited about that one. And I told her I felt like he could probably play that on the guitar easily if he ran across the music, or if I could find the music for him, because it isn't, I mean, I think it would be fun, you know, and I think he'd like it too. But anyway, I suddenly remembered that I used to always love singing Rhinestone Cowboy, and so Manuel put it on the YouTube, and I was belting it out, and we were, you know, and then I printed it out, and I was all excited because I thought, surely Mom will remember this song. And I was even being silly about it. I said, well, you'll know what the song is when I sing it. And so I sang it, and she said, I don't remember that song at all. And so I went back to the computer later, and I think it was 1975, so I suppose I was in high school, you know, I don't know. Anyway, but I think the main point is, and then of course I have this bad, or not bad, but I have a habit, a lifelong thing of liking songs that are really sad, or, I don't know, maybe not, well, yeah, some of them are very sad, like He Stopped Loving Her Today is like one of my favorites, and, you know, just what my son and his friends would call hardcore country, that they needed to behave in the car, or I would put my music on, and that would end any misbehavior. But so I had a Trisha Yearwood one, the song Remembers When, which I love. And that one turned out to be a little bit of a challenge. My voice is actually getting better with all this dental care. And anybody who's read my Substack on what I'm doing with that would understand that reference. But believe it or not, I think a lot of things with my sinuses and all that were connected to the problem with my teeth or whatever. So anyway, the other day I mentioned it to Mom. I said, she said, oh, it's so happy to be talking about music, and like we used to talk about books, but she doesn't do as much reading now. And I said, yeah, I said, it's positively lifted me, and I haven't, you know, fallen back down. Like it was usually pretty chronic low-grade depression is what I deal with. So it was a little bit of a mystery, but almost every evening I would be checking some songs, and sometimes I would tell myself, well, there isn't any way I'm going to be able to sing that, or not without a lot of practice. Okay, so I'm not sure how well I'll be able to sing for her today because my voice is something else. But overall, it's been way better than usual. But we got to talking, I think it was Wednesday, and she said, well, it's music therapy, honey, and she was serious. And I said, yeah, it is. It really is, because like even when I was telling her about she asked me what my 5 favorite songs were, and I couldn't like fully answer because so many came to mind. But the first one that came to mind was Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen. And she said, well, sing it for me. And I said, well, that's a challenging song. Then she said, well, tell me about it. What's the key or whatever? And I said, oh, Mom, remember, I haven't had any music. Like all I do would be by ear. But I said, it's just a powerful song. Then I don't know, so we went into that, and I told her, I said, well, there's the lyrics and everything, but she can read music and she plays the piano. So anyway, I began to think, geez, I wonder if I'm too old to learn how to read music. I got rid of my guitar because I didn't learn to play it. And she said, you need a piano, because I told her that almost every, I'm not sure our floorboards would hold a piano, but anyway, she said that, because I said almost everything I like is either guitar or it's got a really strong piano lead in, and she was just thrilled to hear about some of my favorite songs. And so, of course, I'm not going to leave that conversation and then just not think about it again until I talk to her again. I was thinking, well, what are my 5 favorite songs? I still haven't completely figured it out, but I was telling her about the song Vita by La Mafia, and that one is a rather, it's a ballad, and I translated the whole song years ago, but I can't find that. And so then she was telling me, you need a music journal, and she's right. I mean, but this is so uplifting to me, not just because it's uplifting me, but because I've seen what music is doing for her, where it used to be reading, and now it's music, and it makes sense, it makes perfect sense. And then I thought, and she's, I said, well, I don't know, I guess I could just have a folder. And she said, no, you need a music journal. And I think she's right. After all, I have all these notebooks and they need to be put to good use. But I was telling her, I said, well, everything's on, I print everything out on a big sheet, and but I can use my fountain pens to write down the lyrics too. So I thought I would share this because before this happened, I have to admit I wasn't really enjoying a lot of music recently. I have a habit of thinking that each song connects with something, and sometimes I really don't want to remember, but then there is a whole world of music I haven't even heard yet, so that we haven't heard. And it's interesting because everything she mentions to me, and I have a list of her 5 favorites, and they're mostly gospel, but so I'll be going out of my comfort zone to hear hers. And she also is, she hadn't heard, she hadn't really followed music much except for, way back. So very interesting. Anyway, if for what it's worth, it sure has made a happy spot for my mom and I at a time when I felt like she might even be too tired to talk to me most of the time. But this really has given her a boost, and it's given me one too. So I wanted to share it because that's what I do. But let's see if there's anything else worth talking about after all that. Yeah, so let's see. I just jotted down drought, rain. Yeah, we're expecting some pretty heavy rain, but I ended up with enough lighting to go ahead and get the progress report done today. It's going to take all day probably to upload because it's a long video. And then pen paling is going really well, brisk in and out, and I've got to get moving on my end a little bit more here, but I do that. I tend to write even more on the weekend, I think. And we're really crossing our fingers about the rain. We need it. We need it badly. This morning, I actually called my neighbor because I walked outside to feed the birds, and there was a torrent of water coming from the house across the street from him that his daughter rents. So I came back in and immediately called him, and he said, "Oh, thank you so much." But he said, "It's a water main break from behind there." He said, "We did this, we've called the city." But he was really glad that I, was paying attention, I guess. And that's kind of been the dread that we see that happening all over the city because it's been so dry and everything. But hopefully we'll get enough rain, and maybe it'll be just right, for to help the ground. So I want to see you in the comments and find out what you're writing with, and just know that I will leave a link in the description box to my Substack just in case you're interested. I completely quit writing about politics, not because I'm not still doing certain things and feeling a certain way about things and making certain actions, but because I just couldn't be immersed in it anymore. I couldn't do it and keep my mental health, which I've got to keep to be of use or help or enjoy life or do anything for anybody. We sometimes learn things the hard way, or we learn things anyway. So now I'm really excited that it's still there and it's still a platform I can use to talk about whatever, and people can go there free and read or not go there or go there, and it's kind of nice, And the only reason I'm talking about it is because there will be a few missing pieces if you every ink that comes in and every pen will eventually get rotated in. But if you're wanting to know about it sooner, then it'll be there. And I'll aim to write at least once a week because I really enjoy it. So I'll see you over there, and I'll see you in the comment section, and just let me know any thoughts that you have, and thank you everybody for every participation, every like, every follow, every subscription and comment, and pen pal letter and ink sample and pen and notebooks, and thank you. Your generosity just completely, it just blows me away. I never get used to it. I never expect it, and it's just completely just amazing, and it's throughout the hobby. I see this, and I want to be this too, for others. So I will see you on the next one, and have a great weekend. Bye for now.